I've spent much of my adult life exploring our past. I had the opportunity to
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Adventures into Reality. Will everybody just sit back and relax for just a moment before we take calls? We've got a special teaching that's coming to you, one that I've recently written on a long journey to the big sky countries. So everyone, take a moment, turn off your videos. If you're logged into the Zoom chat, it'll make it easier on everyone. Come into your center and focus. Allow your individual selves to be present. What's going to come up on the screen in just a moment here is the speech where you'll be able to read along with and hear the words. And for those that are coming later in the future, these words are for you too. A timeless statement, a timeless message at the hub of interconnectivity. We now begin the journey. I unpack and uncode the 1 million letters celestial alphabet for the express purpose of being the celestial medium of peace. I dedicate this to all there is, was, and ever will be. I am the excellence of execution with flawed perfection. I am man, hear me roar. Meow. There comes a time for those destined for greatness when we must stand before the mirror of meaning and ask, why have we been given this courage? I am the mirror and the man. This courage is my birthright and legacy to this world. This is the fifth world of peace. We must look into our own eyes that are tired from the long journey through mediocrity. In that moment of self-discovery, many learn. We are so tired of stagnation, so tired of repetition with our personal illumination. Our culture has become stagnant. Our society has become separate of reality from those living within the denomination of currency. A separation of humanity created by the money-driven caste system as a byproduct of world government's inability to actually do anything that helps people out of the stagnation or cruelty put onto them by the free market society. A system that uses free will to its advantage to create disadvantages for those that come to the future generations. Our parents and theirs before them had a vastly different life than those of the previous 1,000 generations. We have lost our way to create synthesis with our own selves. This speech is by design to challenge the readers and listeners in 900 degrees of separation of the creation of these words. Can you once again attain synthesis with yourselves in that moment? Can you solve your greatest problem of attention and its deficit because our world screams with things that take us off course? Synthesis is not just a word. It is a state of personal freedom and awareness for growth within the patterns we create to promote our own evolution with our purpose and place in this world. When in the course of our personal human events, there comes a moment looking into that mirror of meaning. When something looks back at us in raising of one's awareness. A time when some ask questions of the self-reflection and others lose track of the moment, lost in their own petty, momentary need for mystical justification. It is those few who choose to dissolve old beliefs and habit patterns that create habitual abuse of the self who are the ones who are destined for greatness in a world of mediocrity. These self-chosen few the full powers. They know the full powers of the self and the laws of nature are nature's gifts to us. It is our legacy and birthright to be in synthesis with all there is, was, and ever will be. Each and every one of us has the inner fortitude to face self-created demons of mediocrity. It will be choice and our ability to enforce our choices through the storm of self-doubt and self-deceptions. Each day we challenge ourselves to become more than we were the day before. We pass on the legacy of the self to ourself, so our greatness will not be forgotten to the evolving waves of time. This moment now, as you read or hear these words, a vast unseen world tunes into you, asking you to listen to the silence that expands your ability to know it, equal to this world and layered over it through the forms of thought and perception. You and only you can discern the silence and know how the unseen world speaks to you. As I write and speak these eternal words decoded from the 1 million letters celestial alphabet, all of you feel the churning of a wisdom you have known since the dawn of all of your eternal births, because the great remembering has begun. I know this because I feel you before this has ever been shown to another living person in the world. I have spread it to the rest of the uniworlds, layered over all forms of thought and perception for the express purpose of being the celestial media of peace. In this, we as a species entangled with tens of thousands of other species no longer have to battle for meaningless control of infinite space. Fear is the form of self-depravity, self-deception, and egotistical actions, redefines and drives so many in the uniworlds to do things unnatural to the natural way of being. We must face our fear of the unknown and know it is false evidence appearing real. We make it real, for we are the creators of our own reality. Too many of us hold false truths to be self-evident, appearing as real now, deforming our ability to store memories without our perception deception filters, guiding us with fear-based actionable wisdom, driving us further into the charge and polarity of living in the layered uniworld. As the creators of our own reality, our self-truths are incumbent on our ability to be vigilant and disciplined. Holding them as self-evident now without perception deception filters, guiding us back into fear, doubt, or the many vices of depravity. Many of us believe the greatest human power of potential is within our ability to independently think, to choose our own goals, and live our dreams. Within the heart of humankind lives the natural instinct to know freedom. Here exists the independent psychological predisposition to chart our own course. This is a biological imperative directing us to grow. Choosing the spiritual joy through this biological imperative is the essence of our essence, being one with it as part of us, as programmable DNA instruments of awareness, as part of our choice-based belief system interwoven with the fabric of time and space realities. The history of our past action all too often retells to the tales of life's traumas, repeated without learning how to heal from them. A nagging unhappiness with our path, lack of clear purpose, or anything that does not promote us as conscious beings of choice who must go through the thick and thin of life's offerings from a world mired in mediocrity. Too many of our world cultures lead a blind desire to be judged worthy, lovable, accepted as part of the pack of conformists. We must learn about our hero's journey. The steps forward to do its great work, regardless of the projections put upon those around them, including loved ones who are still in the hypnosis of obedience and slavery. A hero's stance is frightening to those who unquestionably conform. You, as a hero, will not become subject to the tyranny of fools and the fool's desire to entangle you in the fool's mission of self-deception. Too many of our species are lost in the abyss of unawareness, blissfully ignorant to the all of nature's gifts within the joyous tick-tock of the now. We can no longer live in apathy of the moment of now. We must be present to reclaim our authority and its wonderful gifts that exist in the now. Now that we've given away, now that we're given away to the system of cultural mediocrity and deprivation of our relation with nature. If you should choose to be a conscious being of choice and full awareness, your choice is yours to use, discard, or give away to others. You and only you can attain personal freedom from the conformists who demand you conform. This is a form of cultural hypnosis that uses pre- and post-cultural hypnotic suggestions, demanding you respond to the needs of others, pulling you at every choice point, changing the course of your daily evolution into meaningless pursuits of others' false emergencies. This creates an inner detachment of our clear intentions and actions. Personal evolution becomes a TV series we binge watch, thus lessening our ability to even know synthesis. As our birthright and legacy, we must explore with a clear heart, a clear mind, and knowingness the world will demand you conform. We step into our greatness with these truths self-evident to our beingness in stages of action, reclaiming our power and authority to be ourselves without conforming to the whims and fancies of others, needing to make us conform to their reality rules. All too often, mankind forgets the unnatural foe of our life path is the distant vision of death, driving us into choice points we adhere to with vigilant force. We stop our own evolution. That the real truth is, we only have these moments of now. The byproduct of this form of thinking is present in the moment-to-moment detachment from natural living. This unnatural way of nature, a creation of man's need to make others conform to thought constructs and ideologies of the past generations, demanding we make them relevant now to grow. All too often, mankind does not have vibrant awareness of its own emotions. Lack of emotions means one cannot feel the subtle energy that surrounds our body, mind, and spirit as a complex hologram of light encoded in memories lifetime to lifetime. We must choose to feel again and again. Each time you make the choice to feel, allowing the raw emotions to help define your course of action in your great work, so your great work can have a great impact on those you love. The choice to feel is your birthright and legacy. Each day, we must challenge the gates of apathy and drive forward our hologram with full presence and the potential power of being in the now. There are things inside us all that create self-sabotaging habit patterns. These habit patterns take on the forms of unhealed traumas, rearing their head during our times of eternal crisis. Whenever we choose to be authentic with ourselves or loved ones, these patterns become programs of potent power from denial of our self-growth through the many generations of thinkers. We call these programs our internal demons. Our internal demons poisons the well of inspiration, turns hope toxic, and dispels goodwill into hatred, rage, and anger. Our destiny is determined large part by how we know our internal demons of self-doubt and self-deprivation, and how they use shame, blame, and guilt to distort our perceptions of people's, places, and things of the present, diminishing a potent power that can assist us in manifesting our dreams, desires, and needs so we lead a fulfilled life. How we battle them and choose to win each day will be determined by the metal you create within yourself. The path to self-mastery begins with identifying your internal demons and flipping the frequencies on their arguments for your limitations. Find your arguments for success and challenge your internal demons to go back to the recesses of your mind and sit in the corner, powerless to overcome your will to be a conscious being of choice in these moments of now. For if you do not defeat your demons, who will? The external will not save you. It will only make you conform to the global narrative. Many wonder why we cannot mature as fast as we could, seeing others leapfrog ahead of the pack of conformists when we ourselves cannot advance. We are stuck in pause, waiting and waiting for permission to declare our dreams and true intentions, struggling for what we want out of life. We await the time for personal change to arise within us, like a sexual stimulation, or for society to grant us permission to activate our inner genius and in turn activate the inner geniuses of others. To seek change is to go against the grain of those demanding conformity to ideological and cultural patterns of limitation. Truly advancing to the unknown with the choice to make it known, letting go of fear, envy, and resentment, flying aloft on the wings of understanding, enjoying the reckless abandoning of shedding off the conformist will to suppress your desires to know the unknown. It is your birthright and legacy as a conscious being of choice on the path to self-mastery. The bold and disciplined invite the need to grow. It is our savior from the fearful masses who will never hold their power until they too are faced with their internal demons and shed off the needs of the conformed masses who have forgotten that courage is a choice. What awaits them is the presence of choice itself and the potential power of living in the natural moment of now. That was some powerful words that have come through. So I'd like everyone to take a moment, for those that are in the chat room, write a response. Who's got the courage to use choice right now? To step past your normal envelope of acceptance. Put your input here. Reach forward out of your lounge chair. Grab your keyboard. Did that speech make a difference? Were there lines in there that got you? Powered up. We have access to the super consciousness through these speeches. I want everyone here now to remember, at any moment in time, we can choose to be courageous. And that is still stepping into the unknown. How strong is your courageous heart? How divested is your courageous heart into other people's investments, but not your own? Ponder some of these words. I saw someone there that says, born to be a rebel with an agenda and a strategy and a knownness of the seen and the unseen and how the world really works, so you can make really informed choices. Without really informed choices, how can you know the basis of your choices? Gut. We cannot live like love lighters. Doesn't work. Who pays the bills? Oh, I'm following Spirit's word. Great. Until Spirit puts a bill in front of you. Or until Spirit says you have to make choices now. We can no longer be blissfully ignorant beings. We are conscious beings of choice at every moment. So I'm going to be open up the call lines right now. We are open calls for talking whatever you want, from anything from galactic history to whatever it is that you want to go to. Robert, spin the wheel of callers. Doot, 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 doot.
Okay, our first caller will be Sabrina Barron.
Sabrina, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I am.
Great. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Los Angeles, but recently returned from a 1.5-year journey through South America.
Wonderful. So how did you find out about me?
I was in Panama, house sitting at a beach house, and trying to find which form of yoga I wanted to go deep with, which wound up being Kundalini. And I believe you popped up in a related video. So I clicked over and watched like a ton of your speeches. It's really interesting.
So what made you want to call in and raise your hand to get into the people of asking questions?
Well, actually, I put together my questions, so just give me a minute to try to locate them so I can be a little more articulate.
Okay. So how long were you in South America?
A 1.5 years. Actually, prior to that, I lived in New York for 12 years with barely any travel. And I got slammed with a health crisis that was highly mysterious, which is about the 4th time that's happened in my life.
How old were you when the first time happened?
5.
And where exactly were you living?
Maryland.
How close to Bethesda?
Pretty close. Why do you ask?
Toxic energies. It's a veritable war zone energetically, always around that hospital.
Around what?
Around that hospital.
I was experimented on at Children's Hospital in DC.
Yeah, that's why I asked about Bethesda. It's a den of inequity.
Den of inequity? What does that mean?
Biblical term of where people are doing the worst of the worst things on purpose.
Yeah, I sense darkness. In fact, I can't recall all of what happened, but I have very distinct memories that, like, for example, just on replay in my memory for whatever reason, one being that, like, I was asked to be recorded into a medical book.
Based off of your DNA or based off of your conscious awareness of the experiments?
I mean, I think they just wanted to document whatever they had done while I was there. And the fact that I guess my case was sort of not very clear to them. So it was interesting for that reason. It was an anomaly.
Yep.
And I remember even at 5, I was given the choice, which was kind of interesting that my parent at the time let me decide. And I remember so distinctly just saying no. Like I could just tell something was, it's like memories are, excuse me, flooding back now. It's something trifling going on in that whole scene.
Okay. So what is the nature of these unusual sicknesses you had?
Well, they're different each time. When I was 5, I was having like internal bleeding. The last one before I went to South America, I couldn't turn my head or lift my arm, and I had like excruciating pain in my collarbone. And I actually had to go into the hospital alone because the infectious disease doctor that I finally got to go see after not winning the belief of doctors for a very long time that something was wrong until it was apparent from the outside, called me from his recovery bed and told me I had to get straight into the hospital right away. And given my history with the hospital system, that was like a nightmare to re-enter a hospital, especially alone, where like they push antibiotics before they've even diagnosed anything, which in my case, based on my own personal research, would have been a very, it would have been the wrong choice. It would have allowed what was going on to get a lot worse.
And what was it that was going on?
I believe it was a fungal infection. And if you add an antibiotic, that disarms your immune system to the point that that can just allow a fungus to grow out of control. And I
That's
saw,
correct.
yeah, and they would not hear me even when I was anesthetized, like coming to, the first thing before I was even fully conscious, they're like, okay, we're going to give you antibiotics now. And that was like about the 15th time that they had tried to push that on me, and I had told them no every time. So it's like really creepy that they try to catch you when you're vulnerable. Like, what's going on with that? What's the antibiotic? Why is there such an agenda?
Billing. It's all about billing. Any procedure that they can get you to consciously accept.
It's crazy because they poisoned me when I was 5 with antibiotics. That's
They
why
do that all the time. That's why there's so many autoimmune diseases out there.
yeah.
Unfortunately, they do that all the time. Now, are doctors conscious of this? Most of them aren't. There are many studies out there about the overprescription of antibiotics, and doctors need to go read those papers on their own. Oftentimes, they're, let's just say, contracts with the very big pharmacopoeia companies prevent them from not being able to prescribe antibiotics and do other stuff. So some of them are tied by the actual contracts that make them do as doctors. Then there are the other ones that can change medicine. Well, when they step up and choose that, there's a whole new group of people waiting to take that service up. But until then, you do have to be a conscious being of awareness and understand you are some things you got to say no to right away. But at the same time, once you become aggressive with doctors, they have new rules where they can just basically knock you out and do whatever the hell they want. So if you're too aggressive and you say words that they don't like, guess what? They can knock you out and do nothing about it. Force you down, tie you down, put you in a room.
Who is the they in this scenario?
The asshole doctor that's deciding to be an aggressive, arrogant person at that moment instead of allowing the person to have a second choice based off his Hippocratic oath.
Wow, I wasn't aware that it like got like that. I mean, I've met with falling on deaf ears, but I haven't encountered aggression like you're describing.
Just be careful. Just be careful. There are some doctors out there that do not like to be told no to. And then there are other ones that can handle it. And it's based off the harshness of the job. It's not a knock on doctors. It's their culture they created. We just have to learn to live with it. And can they change that culture? Sure, just like corporate culture. It's a choice. That's why alternative medicines and the alternative science have such a powerful look over these last many years. And many doctors are going to look for the alternatives that aren't controlled by big pharma. so that they can actually make money. We need the doctors going forward. We absolutely need the doctors, and we need the lawyers going forward too. Why? Because who else is going to do it? Little grandma on the street doing Reiki for everyone? No, the smallpox in the 1700s proved that. Huh?
Well,
I talk about healing, but there are certain things, energy healing just can't do it. Can't cure smallpox. A doctor can.
are you familiar with Rife, Raymond
Yeah.
Royal Rife?
Yes, I am. And if it was allowed to be used, you could cure smallpox with those machines too, but are not allowed to be operated in our global narrative. Many people have tried, and many people have been taken down.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the most mind-blowing, one of the most mind-blowing technologies that I've come across. And
What they've held back in water purification is beyond that. Everyone can have free water, and they could free water worldwide. Yeah. Free clean water. Yeah. They could just pull it out of the air and put it back in from underground.
it's pure underground.
No, they make these underground chambers that are pressurized so they can absorb moisture in there. Large underground chambers, and it's like taking air out of the moisture out of it. It's a natural process that already goes on on the planet from large crevices, and they've just industrialized it.
Interesting.
Yes, there are many ways to create all forms of really pure, clean water that don't require electrolysis. Same thing with separating hydrogen.
It requires electrolysis, or
Does not.
does
It's a
not?
natural action.
Can you give me like a keyword to research how it works in the natural process underground?
Dew point. So when you understand the term dew point, when moisture solidifies from temperature variance, so you look around the term dew point. Yeah, whenever you see it on your weekly or nightly news weather person, they tell you the dew point there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the process that you look for, and you can apply that to underground caves. How big and then you scale the math up. But they're also pressurizing these underground caverns under heavy pressure, so they can bring a lot of moisture in.
Interesting.
Yes.
So thank you for your patience while I was searching for my questions. So I'm just gonna ask it, and maybe it'll make sense to you. If not, you can redirect this. But so as I was undergoing this latest mystery illness, I received a message to pack all my things, end on a suitcase, which I did. And then I traveled to the Amazon without knowing the language or anything. It was like a very direct hit in terms of the message and directive I was given.
Okay.
And interestingly, I had experience with plant medicines in the greater New York area. And it was a really miraculous, that was actually driven by trying to find a solution to yet another mystery illness, which I'm still grappling with. And my next question will be about that. But this is like, I'm like forever inspired and haunted by what happened in the Amazon before I even had the chance to make contact with the medicine, which is that at night, these glowing lights would come and visit me repeatedly, like almost every night. And I asked the shaman about it. Like I actually was kind of demanding with him, like, what the heck is going on? Because like also, I mean, there are a lot of really strange things, like my entire, the structure that I was sleeping in alone would shake, like the whole thing, like just,
That was energy. That was energy coming out of you.
Are you sure about that? Because I felt like it was like spirits around the perimeter.
It was, but it was still energy coming out of you, trying to tune with the ancestral energies of a medicine journey that was coming. This is something that people frequently experience before they have powerful medicine journeys, because technically whenever you did your first medicine journey, it hasn't ended for you. You're just coming to a point where it's chapter change. Okay.
Can you repeat that again?
You're at what we call chapter change. Your very first medicine journey, when your first one and very first one, it is still going on. It has never ended. Okay. And what we're at a stage is it's the end of chapter 1. Your next medicine journey is now chapter 2. The book hasn't ended though. It still goes on and on and on. Medicine hasn't left you. And it was reconnecting to this ancestral energies. Something you'll have to understand is when people reach high forms of awakeness, which is what you're going through right now, which is why your life is so challenging right now, because this is asking you to discern things as a form of global narrative truth, regular truth, 3D truth, semi-applicable truths. Okay? It's a very much gray area in our choice points. Okay? So with your medicine journey, how long did it take for you to go down? Your first one, your one where you're talking about in the Amazon?
Can you rephrase that? How long did it take me to
go down, lay down, and go into the zone and enter the medicine space?
Well, this particular shaman, he was a very traditional Shipibo practitioner. And so in his methodology, you prepare the greater part of a month until the final week.
Okay.
And that's when the medicine is supposed to open up. Now, me and the 2 other people who were at that particular center felt that maybe it was something with the medicine that it wasn't particularly strong. And then word got around to him and the medicine got a lot stronger. But I mean, I dropped into ridiculously deep visionary experiences.
Right. How fast did it take you to get under?
How fast?
Yeah. What I'm doing is actually tuning into the moment, how the medicine affected you.
You're saying like in my first journey when I was in the Amazon?
Yep.
Well,
was there resistance?
I don't believe there was, because I was, this medicine's my passion, but I think that maybe the first medicine we took was Toei.
Okay.
Toei. And that was wild, because I went into a trance state and like freaked everybody out. And like when I came to, my whole room was turned upside down. Like that was I don't remember what happened. Just little bits. I think we took that first before we sat with ayahuasca. And with the ayahuasca, how quickly I dropped in with that. I mean, I want to say like a couple hours, maybe an hour.
Okay. That's a lot of energy coming into you during that time. So the nature of these sicknesses that you're going through are dream world issues. You've tapped into a dream world that has become a poisonous well back to you. All different eras of the sickness, each time they're all connected to the same thing, a dream world that has become a poisonous well.
Can you elaborate on that?
Let's go back to age 7.
Okay.
Okay. It was shortly after your first experience in the hospital, right? Okay. There's where your dream world began to be under severe infiltration. Do you remember any invisible friends?
Not specifically, but I remember I have this memory that comes on repeat of like my mom walking in. I'm supposed to be getting ready for school, but she walks in, she's like, "What are you doing?" And I like felt like I had been talking to someone or something in the room.
Yes. And this is why right now you're going through this form of awakening, is because you've been walking between both worlds since a very young age. You can slide into the dream world and slide into the real world and be in the dream world and the real world at the same time, and you wouldn't even know it, because it's that seamless and easy for you to do. Yeah. There's something that you source and draw power from a very young age, some imagery, some being that you felt was loving you. It isn't. It has turned poisonous. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have an idea?
I wish that I could pin that down. I mean, I can say like from an as above, so below vantage point, like I've encountered a lot of humans that, I seem to be highly gullible or naive or something and like trust and put a lot of energy to build them up. And then it's definitely like a shock that it's,
Yeah, but you got to build yourself up. You need to stop giving away some of your greatness to others so that they can find their greatness, so you can find your own. So I'm just going to push this a little bit.
please
There
do.
comes a moment where no matter how much medicine you've had, no matter what experiences you have, there's going to come a time where daily practice is going to be your disciplined choice to ratchet down the high frequency energies that are coming through you, especially the awakening energy. And it can be a challenge, a harsh challenge. Every time we have solar flares, every time we go through different experiences within solar flares, they all get greatly amplified. You're at a point where we can call it an awakening sickness.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you can't get awakening antibiotics for this, can you?
What is an awakening sickness?
You've been awoken and went back to sleep, awoken and went back to sleep, awoken and went back to sleep so many times, you can't tell if you're awake or asleep anymore. Just as I was saying before. The
That
lines,
is true.
the lines have been blurred. And it's daily practice that grounds you in both worlds. And once again, remind you the worlds are not separate, but equally layered over each other.
Hmm.
And it's only our forms of thought and perception that perceive the layers.
So the goal is
Daily prayer, daily practice, daily in the bodiness, daily reclaiming of the power, a ritualization of the reclaiming of your authority from seen and unseen. And then the next thing, how much do you weigh?
I haven't weighed myself in a long time, but I'm petite. I'm probably like 110 or 115 or
And how
120.
tall?
Huh?
How tall?
Oh, I'm like 5'2.5".
Okay. Are you a vegetarian or do you still eat meat?
I'm vegan plus fish, but I rarely have the opportunity to eat fish.
Okay. So what are you doing to supplement your protein?
A lot of nuts like almond butter, cashew butter. That's my primary protein source.
Right now, your body is having too much nut. You need to find some kind of other alternate protein.
Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty out there. And you got to make sure you're getting your roughly 30 grams a day. Okay?
Okay. Why do you recommend that? Like, what's it going to shift?
The amount of available energy you have to process the awakening and sleep energies that are going through you, so that you have more moments to grasp the energies that are coming through you and process them and understand more, have energy to go and do things with more of your power behind it. That's what food does for us. It gives us the capacity to capture our super consciousness moments and convert them into inspiration now.
Yeah, I've been really confused. Like, I've experimented also with fasting.
That would not be a good idea for you now.
No, because I feel like the spiritual world, or like, I feel like I've been getting message to like do a deeper fasting process.
If you really want to like cleanse your internals, go and do colonics. I think now you would do more damage to your body and trigger other sicknesses to come through.
Interesting.
I think you're at a stage where you need to be very, very selective about what you do and not let something you just decided to make relevant your new path to health and wellness. That's a bad choice for you right now. You need to really chart your course. And I'd actually say you need to go and sit with a nutritional coach.
Okay.
And I'll say this because for you to recover from all all the damage that's been done from all sides of this, you are going to need proper educated nutrition and a new way to cook. And stay vegan, whatever you want. That's why there's nutrition coaches out there. Okay? But you need to discover how food can heal you.
Do you think that meat would be beneficial?
How long have you been vegan?
I can't even remember that far back. I want to say like 10 years, maybe more.
Okay. I would sit with the nutritionist first, because your body is at a tipping point where adding meat could upset something or it could make something better. But in the long run, how you switch from what you're eating to a more nutritional process, you absolutely need to sit with a nutritionist and a food coach that can help you make sure you're getting the right amount every day, because you're absolutely not getting the right amount every day. And it's all over your body when I'm looking at you, and you've got a lot of gallstones going to be building up.
Okay.
So gallbladder flush would be very, very positive for you to do.
Are you talking about like drinking Epsom salts?
No, getting something in a health food store that says gallbladder flush.
Okay.
Okay. And if you're really serious, and I'm going to be serious, do not fast. You are going to do more harm to yourself than good. But if you want to do something that's very challenging to do, that is similar to a fast, but it kills everything off in a different way, you can go and do Holder Clark's parasite cleanse, the one that's 1 month with a bunch of different teas. It will shock you what comes out of you.
Okay, so you wouldn't believe how many different self-experiments I've done. Like, this leads into my next question, which...
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Just to recap, like, these lights that were visiting me every night, you're telling me that was runoff of my own energy?
Yes, that created ancestral portals and connection in which you weren't ready to understand. You activated the land around you from your preparedness for the medicine and the energies that were shooting through you, and the land went to come back with lights, thinking you would be able to understand it, but you couldn't.
And what was it thinking I would understand about
the codes that it was about to give you to unlock the medicine earlier. There are those, when they learn to do medicine, it's not about the medicine itself. They're these ancestor spirits who come before you that give you the code, so the medicine has more value to you. People are still learning what medicine does for those that use it as a life journey and process. And I heard you say before it's your passion, but there will also come a time where medicine will not be for you.
What do you mean?
You have to learn to do it on your own. And that's some of the main messages of all the medicine plants out there is, here's, come have the experience. Now, what can you do without it?
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you achieve this state?
I'm sorry?
Can you re-achieve this state without the medicine? That's being one and attuned with the medicine. It's when you learn several medicines and you can take several courses of action over a period of year to make an extended process and journey. That is not for everyone, not for the faint of heart, not for the non-courageous.
Have you ever made contact with iboga?
Yes.
How do you feel that it differs from ayahuasca?
Uncomparable. Yes, you know you're journeying, but it's a whole different form of journeying with a whole different reality layers and bubbles to it. I would not recommend iboga for you.
Oh, I've already sat with iboga. I just want to go meet it in its homeland.
What did you feel when you were in iboga?
It was incredible. It's as if the reality we're in is on film strip, and iboga makes the frames and the in between the frames accessible.
Mm-hmm. Did you understand the ancestral value that comes with those that take iboga?
The ancestral value?
Mm-hmm. What it connects and interconnects to you as a form of resolution through the medicine?
I think I only just scratched the surface with it, honestly.
Yeah, I understand it. Well, the reason I said it wasn't good for you, it's because there's an ancestral path that it will take you down, which you already said you would love to go and visit the iboga in its place where its origins. Not a good idea. It's tribeless, lawless lands there. And iboga is rapidly be disappearing because people are cultivating it too fast, just like ayahuasca. That's the unfortunate truth of Africa right now.
Does that mean that when it's being deployed as medicine, there's another motivation rather than healing at play that can cause harm? Is that what
No,
you're?
iboga as a plant medicine existed at a certain time in our history that was used for a very positive energy for a workforce that was spawned as an ancestral balancing, meaning people with technology came in and fixed an energetic distortion in a weave in an area from a great war that happened before. And the energy spirits, who are part of the commodity system of our world, seen and unseen, made a deal with a group of off-world beings to come in and create life force there. And iboga was used to help seal some of these old wounds and create this new worker force. Okay. And then another weapon came in and erased everything, but iboga survived. And iboga is still about resolving workforce energy.
Resolving workforce energy.
Yes, being as a direct manifestation workforce for other beings. It's a part of the greater karma that was created by this world. It's a way to entangle us, and in ayahuasca too. All man mushrooms, all the plant medicines were firmly interwoven to our histories of our past. Like, you may not know this, like the vast majority of slaves all the way up to the end of slavery, like they woke up to a food that was laced with cocaine. Did you know that?
No.
Okay. And then in the afternoon, they were given a meal or an aid and a grog that had like 3% or 4% alcohol, but it had like 6,000 calories in it. Then when they got home, they had like a 10,000 calorie meal that was laced with heroin. That would
Why?
knock them out because they were slaves and they were forced to work their entire life. It's the way you manage to get the most out of them and keep them docile at night.
Oh.
Okay.
But what does that have to? Because I mean, I put indigents in a separate camp than hard drugs.
I do too. They are in a separate camp. But what I'm saying is when we see a world that we live in, it's a world of karmic resolution. Everything here is to do what? Have an expression of light, both dharmic and karmic. And have those that are conscious beings of choice decide their emanation path. Are we a dharmic or a karmic resolution path? This world is a karmic resolution world with dharmic beings in it, trying to resolve karmas. Every plant, every atom, everything is interwoven into their overall weight of karma that is this world, from the celestial levels down to our level. And medicines help resolve karma, just like aspirin does.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They connect and interconnect us to newer sources that are in our unknowingness that can become knowingness again. Hey, darling, we've been going for a while. I got to let go and move on to the next caller.
Can I ask just one final question, please?
Actually, we got to go. We've been going over like 40 minutes. We got to go.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Ciao.
Yeah. All right, Robert, spin the wheel of callers once again.
Okay, our next caller will be phone ending 4681. You're now
4681, are you there? Hello.
actually that was a push.
You just told me that. I knew that's why exactly where you were from. No, I really was on. Hello?
Hello, are you there?
I really did. I swear to God.
I hear two people talking.
Honey, I swear I have had diarrhea. I'm not lying.
Hello?
Hello, who is there?
This is Mina.
Hi, Mina.
Hi.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Wonderful. How did you find out about me?
I've been listening to you for years, and I've been trying, and I couldn't get through. This is so great.
Great. So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, my son always had strange dreams and strange sicknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, we had to go to emergency room because his eyes were twitching a lot, and then he's vomiting every morning. And I have kind of a sense that it has something to do with his strange dream. And
Okay.
we did a full like test, everything, like scans and blood tests, and nothing showed up. So we're going to acupuncturist, and he took some herbal medicine, and it doesn't seem to do well. But
How old is your son?
He's 10.
He's 10. And has this ever happened before?
Yeah, ever since he was born, he would scream a lot, and I just carried him to sleep. I would just sit and sleep in that position because I could sense that something terrible is happening to him, and there is no medical reason. And
Okay.
then now
Where are you living at right now?
we moved to La Crescenta. It's kind of mountain area, more north of Los Angeles.
How long have you been there?
It's been about 4 or 5 years.
How close were the fires to you?
Very close. Every summer we're nervous.
All right. So whenever there's a fire, the physical things have to run as well as the unseen things.
Okay.
And what was this dream your son had about?
So almost like every night he has different dreams, and recently he started speaking German. Nobody in our family speaks German in his dream.
Uh-huh.
And I woke him up in the morning, and he was very groggy. And then he told me that him and about 100 some children were in kind of a spaceship, but it was somebody drew a circle, 3 or 4 circles, and they divided the children in those circles, in one of the circles. And the group that he was in was taken in a boat, and there was this German woman who had really creepy, like fixed smile on her face, and started telling children what to do. And then he told me like all sorts of stuff that happened during that time. I kind of forgot. And then, so that's when like I was asking him, so can you speak German now? And he said, I don't know. I was just speaking normally. But it just, she really scared all the children. And they were just drawing a circle, and it turned into kind of a spaceship type thing. And we were doing experiments on children.
Okay.
And then a couple of days ago, so we were doing all the scans and everything. He got sick, and then we came back from the hospital, and we're just doing regular acupuncture and medicine. And the nausea seemed to subside. He was still having kind of back pain. And then in the morning, a couple of days ago, he woke up and he said, I had a strange dream. And in front of I was just like on my belly, and about 12 bees came and stung me on the back. And it kind of it still feels like the bee stings in me. And I was just checking his back, and there was nothing, but he said, feels like something's in there. And he's been having these strange dreams all his life.
Well, it's because he's an enlightened, a child that has reached in some form of enlightened state in his dream world. And when he felt that those are bee stings, those are actually dreaming bees that were stinging him, trying to give him a vaccination, to a positive vaccination in this reality to resist something. And what you're talking about is classic entity issues, external ones.
External?
Do you do any form of daily? Do you do any form of daily practice that can start cleaning up the energy in the house?
Yeah, I do sometimes do sage, but my mom hates smoke.
Okay.
So I'm with mantras. I call upon. I do Mani Padme Hum mantra with my son before he goes to sleep, and
Okay,
I
so
call upon our.
we've got to change up what you do to do energy cleanliness in your house. And this goes for everyone that's out there. After a while, things just watch you and can figure out your patterns and can get past your forms of energy cleanliness. So what I'd like for you to do is to do a little something different. Wherever there is a window, I would like for you to put a little piece of paper that says no. It can be very small, somewhere in the window. You can even fold it up and stick it in the frame so no one can see it. Okay? In all the windows. No means they can't watch you. No means they can't come through. No is a message that's on the door in this portal that says no. No.
Okay.
And the N and the O, that's all you need to have there. Okay?
Okay.
Now the next thing,
Okay.
well, you can also put prayers. You can write them all down and do a whole bunch of prayers over them before you put them in there. But once your mind attaches that I've put into every entrance that could be into my home, from windows to door to whatever you feel comfortable putting it on, you are now positive reinforcing the term no. Now the next level is, what is his favorite toys is he playing with? Is he really big into the video games?
Yeah, very much. I try to, switch it up with, real stuff, but he's really cool.
What does he do when he's not playing video games?
He loves talking to me, do imaginary play, pretending to be cute animal or that I'm taking care of him, and telling me about his dream.
Does he have any friends?
Yeah, he has a couple friends. He is very giving, so he feels really hurt sometimes, but there's one friend who is at his level of, being compassionate.
Okay. So he has a handful of friends. What does he do when he goes over to their place?
Play video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
they're all.
you need to figure out how to get him out of the video games, because that's going to cut down a lot of the external entities getting in and out of him. Okay. So if you have extra money, start getting him music lessons. Get him a guitar, or ask him what instrument he wants to play.
He likes all instruments, and he wants to actually make music.
Just get him one, and get him to lessons, so he has to start working with an adult. Has he learned any other languages yet?
Well, we're Koreans, and we try to teach him Korean. It's really hard because, so yeah, he should start Korean lesson at least.
At 10, he should be learning his third language now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my husband speaks French. So, but he's never home. So
what does your husband do for a job that keeps him away?
He's an animation director, and it's hard for him to concentrate at home. So he prefers to sit in the sofa at the studio.
Okay. So the next thing with your child is diet.
Okay.
What's his diet like?
Well, he always likes meat and eggs. So I've been trying to experiment with cutting one at a time. I'm cutting out dairy right now, and then maybe next time I'll cut out wheat. He likes to eat, and I'm experimenting with different kinds of omitting some sort of food.
Well, you got to make sure that he's getting the right amount of protein. That's the key. Growing kid protein.
He eats a lot of protein. He eats 4 eggs in the morning.
Okay.
And then meat in the evening. But he doesn't like to eat lunch because he wants to play in the playground with kids. Oh, another thing, in the playground, he always gets bullied. And it's he says, I feel like I'm so unlucky. And he's so nice to everybody. All the teachers tell me it's the intelligence difference that kids don't like. but he talks about his scientific invention ideas, and that seems to bother other kids. And we can't afford to send them to, those schools. So we're going to public school, and he always gets bullied in the playground, but he likes, playing with other kids, which is really heartbreaking. And one time he said, I just want to not exist anymore.
He's going through those rough times. And when the bully's picking on him, those are entities and other people driving things to go after the people that are weak. Okay?
Yeah.
Now it's time you got to get your son confidence training.
Yeah.
Okay? That starts with taking him to a martial arts class.
Yeah.
Okay? Why? Because it's physical exercise and he needs to be confidently in his body so that he can start controlling these experiences behind him and not be somebody that's the downtrodden all the time for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You got to see how you got to see how you got to see how you can install confidence in him.
It's so hard. I mean, my husband has that issue too. And I think it might be hereditary. I mean, his family was in military, and I kind of suspect something. I don't know.
Is your husband at all open to other forms of alternate forms of healing?
He's like extremely against anything not Western.
Okay. So what about hypnosis?
Nothing like that.
Okay.
So I do all these things on my own, like healing and everything. And it seems like he's possessed sometimes. Like, what's driving him to be against so much of, something beneficial for, our
Some
son?
people are locked into. Yeah, some people are locked into their own ideological ways, and we can't force them to change, just like they can't, force us to change.
No, it's weird. It's maybe me searching for, answers is, kind of annoying him.
Well, you just have to let that go. Now, to finish off with your son, you need to find whatever forms that you can start instilling confidence in him. That would also mean dance class too. Okay.
Oh, he loves to dance.
Okay. Actually going to an actual dance class on a regular basis so that he gets out and keeps learning that side of himself. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And he wants to audition for this company that's coming soon. I don't know if you know about Big Hit Entertainment. Is it a good idea?
And what is he going to do for that? Is he just going to do a tryout or something?
Yeah, modeling and singing.
Does he write his own songs?
Yeah, he's a good poet.
Yeah, give it confidence. He needs to stand up on the stage, yeah, and if he's willing to go and do it, yes.
Yeah, so you've said before that the entertainment companies can be in alignment with kind of a bad entities.
Sure. That's why you got to oversee him and never let him on the stage by himself without a person that's making sure he's not being taken advantage of, even through the contracts.
Okay, like they do like training camps where the children are on their own.
Yeah, that happens all the time. It happens all the time. And many times nothing goes on, most of the time nothing goes on in those camps other than kids coming there to learn. Sometimes kids are mean to kids and there's nothing you can do to stop that.
Okay. So like if he gets picked and taken to Korea, and I'm going to obviously tag along, but they live in a separate camp than the parents during the summer.
That's the way that they do that. That'd be your choice to decide if you want your child to go like that and compare it to the other camps that are out there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Darling, I have to let you go. Darling, actually, I just realized I got to let you go. I've got to go on my top of the hour break, but it's great talking to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much for all your information.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Robert, let's go on our break. And when we come back, we will continue with our callers.
Okay, we'll be on a break for 10 minutes.
All of my multidimensional parts themselves are working in coherent union with this I am presence, because I declared my apex, I've accepted, and I continue not to give away power that would take me out of the apex point of coherent unity.
And that's so vital. I remember I was discussing with a friend of ours the other day about staying in absolute sacred neutral. Not allowing yourself to go one way or the other, for putting yourself into polarity at these moments as we're endeavoring to find ourselves and really take on the porousness and malleability finally of this reality that we can start to really make manifest now. It was a really interesting conversation, because when it comes to personal, deeply personal things, relationships, trust, and as people go through their own changes, one has to in themselves remain sacred neutral, even though they felt hurt by that other being and their actions or non-actions. It's something that came so much into focus already in the beginning of this year. I mean, that's the first thing you said about this whole year to the audience, is staying in sacred neutral. Mm-hmm. And this is great, because when we work with things like remote view, it is key to be at that moment. You're just there as the observer, and in being able to practice these sorts of skill sets affords your soul at that moment to actually be, just for that moment that you're practicing that skill, in that sacred neutral, in that moment of now, in that beingness of all. And that gives yourself a respite just for that moment of the matrix. And some people, when they practice this skill, they find if they've practiced it for many, many, many hours, when they look at themselves in the mirror afterwards, they find that their skin is looking younger. For some reason, the aging process changed. You've noticed that as well? That's one of the great benefits of doing this kind of work that I also wanted to mention at one time point.
Once you learn the nature of connected sovereignty, you connect to a whole new different part of the life force.
Yeah. That
just is continuously feeding you, even though you may still have feeding tubes giving things to other parts of this reality. It's still nurturing that inside co-creative you, who's the inner child, still innocent and still ready to create with the world.
Yeah.
That's in everyone. And yes, attitude is everything. And at any moment, no matter how angry you are, you can flip into that.
Change it in a moment.
You can change it in a moment. It may not be pleasant, but you can change it and make a very special moments out of that. And I've been challenged with that in my life over and over and over again. Like I've told you, like, at time people expected me to be the trick dog everywhere I went.
Yeah.
And to the moment you go, no, I don't need to do any of that.
Yeah, I'm not the reason for your party. I'm just here as a guest, sort of thing.
You know, I can't even begin to tell you how many emails a day that I get. You know, emails, Facebooks, all the things that people are asking me for 5 minutes of my time. If I did that, I wouldn't ever do shows, because there's 300-400 waiting all over. But all of that, that's why I do these shows. It's reached a point where this frequency I'm sharing, these skill sets that I'm sharing, I want to impart to you. And Debbie said something earlier, maybe by osmosis, I can learn this skill. And for some people, they do learn it through osmosis. I do read the chat. I do go into the League of Consciousness Explorers, and I see people immersing themselves in how he does it, and they don't even care about the information. It's how he does it, because it comes out so much in a flow, and that's what they ultimately desire. And it's their own heart which will pull them into the direction of the truth of their information, but the mechanical part of what I do is what they're connecting to.
And I've
got a question.
Sure, go ahead, Debbie.
When you were talking about, and Natalie was talking about that as well, before a show, that you look into the future and see already what the show is going to be. Do you tune into all the people? Can you pick up all the frequencies of all of those people who are going to tune into your show and present the show along those lines?
Let's put it this way. Let's say I have a 5 o'clock show, And at 3:15, I finished doing whatever my day is doing, and I know I have an open time where I'm going to do nothing else other than get ready for a show. I do what's called a peek. I just let my third eye open up, and I just get a quick synopsis. It's like when you're watching your favorite TV show and you've been watching it for years, and they give you what happened the last couple episodes. I come in somewhere during the live show, and I get a quick synopsis. That's the first peek. The second peek is where I sit down and, all right, I'm ready to experience what the total potential of the audience is, where I let that synopsis be a synopsis of each individual person who's coming for a mechanical, spiritual, denial, whatever reason there. It adds up to a total amount of karma in the system because I'm still functioning in the system. And I take that value of karmic retribution, debt, whatever it is, and I raise the level of what my information is to zero out everything through the sacred neutral expression. During that time, each individual will be going through healings or impressions, ups and downs, which then ups and lowers that cap of what my total potential is. And then there comes a point where those that are dropping out take the energy lower, and there are those that are jumping above my labeled potential, where I can bring it up and up and up, and through individual words, soliloquies, I can hammer out to just individuals deep impressions of something they need to understand, and only come through the cadence and rhythm of the word, not necessarily the meaning. So that's that second synopsis, and then just before I go into a show, it's like dumping into the deep end of the cold pool.
Yeah. But I mean,
I got my little ritual that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, how many times have you? I mean, I've when I've been looking at the chat, how many times have I been seeing those questions, and you've already started answering them before they were even. I mean, that was just so great because you've already tuned in, so you're taking that with the streams of how you can best serve the audience at that time.
Exactly.
It's wonderful to watch, and a lot of the time, if you're not on the chat, there's so many synchronicities where things are being talked about or a question's asked, and Andrew will just out of the blue, he'll just answer it, or things that people have been really contemplating for a long time, and he'll just happen to talk about it, and they'll just be able to get their answers. And it's just so great when you get those emails when they share that experience, and it's worth all the preparation that you do for sure.
And for those out there that are new to the audience, this is tobacco. And one of the reasons I use tobacco, especially during shows like this where you guys are remote viewing, is we are keeping this area clear and clean. So I'm not trying to bring up a debate or an argument. Each person uses their plant medicine for their own purpose. Do not be in judgment. Do not be in justice. Just understand that each person's belief system is what takes them forward into their truth of what their words are. I don't recommend anyone to do anything unless your heart tells you to do it. Welcome back, everybody. So now this is an opportunity for anyone that wants to put a good question in the chat room, and not one that's like the good old repetition ones that we get all the time. So take a moment and put into the chat room, and I will look over them before I take the next caller. All right, so to take a little bit for you guys to come back to your screens. I'm getting shaking my rust off of the being off of radio for a while, but we're going to be getting back in it. We got a lot of really advanced things being planned for you. So keep on those emails, because we are going to be offering you guys some special services over the next couple months. We got some beautiful things that are coming to a surface. Now, a wee galactic update. The good guys are doing good stuff. The bad guys are doing bad stuff. And it's still a world of mediocrity here in the world. Haha. So too many people do these galactic updates and we get lost in the story. I'm a person that led a 22-station marathon that said nothing was going to happen tomorrow, December 1st, 2012. And I have had all of my marketing teams saying, all these other guys are doing it. Why don't you? And there's a reason. The shows I do with Andre, they're updates enough of what's going on. If I really wanted to break down what's going on with these guys and those hobos and those jerks and those idiots over there, what does it really matter? Nothing's still going to happen until the world changes, and nothing's going to happen until each individual let go of the burdens that we're all hold weigh us down. Okay. Let's see. Well, we got questions coming. Michael. So here's one. How do we teach new children and future generation the ways of nature and animal medicines? By having a daily practice that has got decades behind it of wisdom of living the natural way. This does not mean fully shutting off electricity and the amenities of life. It's learning how to live in synthesis with nature, so that nature inspires you to live within it and you live within nature with all of your other things that go on in your life. Allowing different aspects of natures to teach you new ways of making modern nature, modern culture. Will Q open up the consciousness enough to heal us? You're referring to QAnon? I have not really publicly spoken about QAnon before, so this I will have to, based off that question, will Q open up the conscious enough for us to heal? You will. Q won't. There are no external sources and gurus that are going to help you. It includes me if you don't do it yourself. Wink, wink. Q's another presenter out there. Does it matter who he is? I guess to the other side it does. I have my own perspective that you can have fun with the system and no one will ever know what you're doing in a long-term goal. That's all I'll really say about Q. And if I'm really poked about it, maybe I'll write something about it. And not to push anything bad on Q, but I don't do that with any other presenters right now. As I think until they change their marketing and learn how to use the system to their advantage and once again return to a more balanced way of living, I think that the charge and polarity of the outside industry and world is going to drive them further and further away from the truths. How do we dismiss the judgments of those who are threatened by us and do not wish to conform, so they are in effect attack us and even spread lies to weaken our power? Well, a hero will not be brought into the fool's errand, allowing their value of their energies to continue the attacks. We stand our grounds too, but we also understand that some people just do things to annoy the hell out of us. So how? You can't just dismiss judgment. You just know what it is and know that if it's a zealot, martyr, unchangeable choice in those people, there's nothing you can do and no more sweat off your back. We have to learn that those that come to judgments, and then there are those that can come to conclusions and not judgments be judgments. Okay? We must learn conclusions can have the same value as a judgment, but not actually having a judging value. Has the event happened? Yes. August 2014. Y'all missed it. And I've been saying that since August 2014 at Venton, and you didn't actually miss it. It's still happening, waiting for you to wake up and take its power. All right, let's take a caller. Robert, spin the wheel of colors.
Okay, a wheel of callers has Mathias. Mathias, you are now up.
Mathias, are you there?
Hello, this is Mathias. Can you hear me, Andrew?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much.
So, how did you find out about me?
It's been a number of years, actually. I can't remember.
Okay.
About 4 or 5 years or so.
So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, there's many things that we could talk about. The first thing that comes to mind is just to provide a little bit of a context. I've been reading the Akashic Records since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also been interesting, even as I heard previous shows about you connecting to the different records and the different worlds besides Earth. I had the perception that I was doing that similarly. So just to say it directly, am I one of the galactic historians in waiting, as you mentioned previously? And I get the sense of, if this is the case, it would be more of like a future-oriented historian.
No. There are other versions and other things that you can achieve. I am a signature frequency match for this choice, this person, this now. So are there others that can create the same? Yes. That's not to say that you can't do. You can. And in fact, many can do what I can do and more. I've just been practicing the translation journey since I was a little kid.
Very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Very clear. Excellent. So as the next thing that comes to my mind and consciousness, I mean, in addition to the intuitive work that I've cultivated with the Akashic Records, for the past 3 years, I've actually spent the better part of time in Morocco, supporting young entrepreneurs to work with major corporations, and have really been grateful that I've supported myself and my strategic partner to really shift the entrepreneurial culture there in Morocco, which also is a gateway to Western Africa, and bringing and sharing a message of leading with confident vulnerability. So is part of what has been coming to mind and as a challenge is like the message of leading with confident vulnerability, which I'm clear is for the majority of people, and I'm working on a couple of books having to do with that. And then the message around perhaps sharing more advanced intuitive things. Do you have any ways that kind of come to your consciousness about how to do that in a both and kind of way?
Have you developed any light language skills from your Akashic record reading?
It's very interesting you should mention that. A friend of mine who's a shaman, actually, she was doing a light language that I apparently was like the person who decoded it the most accurately, based on what she said. And the reason for that being is that she said in multiple lifetimes in this planet and previous that I was a well-known linguist. And, currently, I mean, I speak Spanish, French, Japanese, starting Arabic, other things like that. So that can resonate.
So I'm gonna do some light language words, and I just want you to try to enunciate them after me and see if I can get you to see if you feel these frequencies. Uk yak.
Uk yak.
Nahotak.
Ahotak.
Aktohak.
Ahohak.
Ni ak ak.
Ni ak ak.
All right. Did you have any inclination of what that meant?
Not yet consciously.
Okay, I'm going to try something else. Wagna nakta.
Wagna nakta.
Aktiokta.
Aktiokta.
Toktiokta.
Toktiota.
Okay, any sensations on that?
The truth of who you are is manifested here in human form.
Pow. You did it. Now you have to understand something. There are times the Akashic record can only come to you in light language that you must, with your own mind, translate into 26-letter encoded English alphabet. Or whatever other alphabet you want to use. Okay? That's mystical skill. And that's a gift. But it's one that we understood that you must use very sparingly, because there'll be many people demanding you to trans their light language stuff. And it will take you off your course of who you are. You learn languages for yourself, not to translate for everyone else all the time.
Clear.
There are some people that they may get the message in English, but they haven't got the message in energy. And they make great mistakes. There is a responsibility that comes with the translation of light language. Great responsibility. And for everyone else out there, great responsibility. Okay? You can alter the course of somebody's life literally by translating light language for them and them not having the energetic understanding of what it actually means.
So would that be if they are actually speaking the light language and then I would interpret it for them?
It's all person dependent first.
Sure.
Which is becoming an Akashic record reader is, are you dependent on persons to read the Akashic record?
No.
Is it hard for you to do it yourself at all?
Hard for me to read the records? No, I mean, I can tune in and ask questions as I...
For your own self, where you're not asking questions, where in your full fluid flow of the skill and you're fully focused inwards on yourself. No words.
Well, I would say yes, it's possible. I think because it's, if I'm asking something, clarity for something for me, of course, the dynamics.
There comes a moment your mind is shut off and you don't need to ask questions. That's the higher level of the higher scale of the Akashic record. Like the speech that I started today was the celestial medium of peace. And that was to function at the higher scale of the Akashic record. So I have a better understanding of what all the micro records mean and what the micro records mean to the higher perspectives. And what you're trying to do is gain as many perspectives as an Akashic record reader. Developing light language will greatly, greatly, greatly help that. Use it for yourself, though. Okay, and sparingly, and using your true inner discernment to decide where you use it on others, knowing that it's got great potency behind it. And then the next level here is, how do you take more of that information in and instantly translate it on the spot? That means there has to be a written aspect to it. So what you can start doing is finding a code of light languages that is easily repeatable. And just like you're learning iterations of words or conjugations, you start doing that and you start creating a hand-to-eye synopsis pattern, meaning you create a little signature image, or you start writing in one language and thinking in another. You've learned enough languages, you can do that. You can think in Japan, write in American, and still have it come out, in a doodled type format. That's engaging your superconscious for your greater understandings of how you can use that skill to the Akashic record. Meaning you can seamlessly flow through your different ways you've learned to create languages and function in language. You will greatly increase your particular skill with the Akashic record.
Wow.
You got some good skin in the game. You've done a lot of practice. Now you got to refine some of your practices. Are you looking to move somewhere else?
Well, I'm currently in Maui right now, and definitely feeling drawn to go back to Morocco for between 1 to 3 months. Sometime during the rest of this year.
Mm-hmm. How would you make money there?
Through speaking and training in collaboration with my strategic partners there.
All right, so you have something set up that can pay the bills as long as you're there.
The short answer is yes. I mean, that'll take a little bit of negotiation in advance, but there are a number of people who know me there and, who would be happy to support, in that way, and are interested in having me come and speak and or train.
Okay. As long as you can get that stuff written, because being unstable is the worst thing you can do right now.
Yep.
Okay. You said you got a couple books on the table. Now is the time to seize them for yourself. Get as much done on those projects as possible. Every time do you ever check spaceweather.com for solar flares?
Yes.
Or be very close aware that the more solar flares that they are, the more you should be writing. 2 days,
okay.
2 to 3 days afterwards, the solar flares will be affecting you enough that you should be writing, which will trigger more in your dream world action. And this can go for anyone out there that's trying to expand their own magical skill sets and whatever it is that they're trying to do. Look up whenever that there's having solar flares. And if it's multiple solar flares going off at once, that means it's going to be compounded. It can go one solar flare combined by a few others can go on 4 or 5 weeks. That means you have to learn to use that form of light that's coming in, even you may not perceive it, how to bring it into your dreaming world and then channel it into your inspiration, dreams, and hope, which is through your daily disciplines, your sacred practice to channel that energy, that cosmic energy into yourself. So you have a bigger source of energy instead of microvolts, one's more into that macrovolts. And you need to cultivate macrovolts in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I definitely feel that. Do
you ever work with a Tibetan singing bowls?
Not consistently, but I have just on occasion in the past.
Have you ever seen anyone do a singing bowl treatment where they put the bowls on top of the body and then ring them and make them tone?
Yes, in terms of sound healing, yes.
Yeah, and gong baths. It would be very, very beneficial for you to find somebody that can do a gong bath and a Tibetan bowl healing bath on you, because you have a lot of very refined energy that helps you read the Akashic record. Think of it as finely woven silk energy that's in your bubble of aura, and that people like that. They take it from you all the time. And you need to solidify up that energy.
Yeah.
Enforcing your personal boundaries. You create some really powerful rules, policies, and procedures that are your out loud daily name it to claim it prayer system.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more you left unblind, you're thinking, that the other world that's out there that wants you to read the Akashic record vicariously through it, you may not know it, but ancestral spirits come to you all the time and you're reading for them and you don't even know it. Mm-hmm. For me to do this at this level, I had to go through all the different games of all the different consciousnesses that all want access to the source. And everyone can read the Akashic record. It's not limited to just me, just as you well know. I've just refined the way I've learned it to this state. And this state says there's all these forms of consciousness that want access to that source too, but they also must learn to do it themselves. As long as they're in a form of equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order, I can continue this source of information for everyone that's present in all ever-present moments, past, present, and future, as long as this remains here. So for you, you need potent energy to re-enter your field. Do you do any of your own ceremonies to raise energy on a regular basis?
A short answer, I have in the past, and that's something that I could definitely do more of.
Yeah. That's something you've got to re-engage your personal commitment to being a healer at this level. To do what I do, it's about 20 hours of commitment to the energy a month, 4 or 5 hours each week. Okay? And you need to have your version of that. And then you can see it as energetic strategy, preparedness. When you're doing clients or you're operating in those types of environments with high energy people, it attracts high energy negativities around people. And we must be vigilant in our own awareness of the things that we create, that we may toxify our own environment with, and then somebody else comes around and somebody else, and next thing you know, 5 different toxic environments are all crossed over onto one, and we walk into that bubble of energy and take it on.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some people that I choose not to read deeply because there's so much of their natural light is dirty light. They've taken on so much light from others. It would take me an hour just to sort through to find what is their real light.
Very clear.
I'm sure you've seen that. Right.
Yeah.
You've got to go through this, let's just say, fine refining of your light. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, a relationship with someone that I met here in Maui, and we're physically living together, and at the same time, just regarding both of our values. I mean, we first and foremost could definitely say we're soul allies. We definitely agree on that. And in terms of being, a longer lifelong partners, it seems like our values are different enough that is not a lifelong fit. But yeah.
Is your partner, are you into horses?
It's funny you should say that. That's actually something. So the short answer is no. But that's something that actually she is really, really allergic to.
She's allergic to horses.
Well, the dander.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have a very bright relationship there. I will just advise buy horse art. If you can't be around physical horses, go buy horse art. It's ancestral between the two of you. You guys need that energy around you.
Okay.
Okay. It'll really help balance a lot of things between you and your unseen worlds. So let me ask you a question. When you started reading the Akashic Record in 2009, how easy did it feel for you?
Very.
Now, all these years later, you see all the other people out there. What do you want to do with your skill? Knowing that sessions ultimately aren't going to do what? Aren't going to really change the world, are they?
Right.
Perspective will.
Yep.
That's what drew you to me. I chose to read the records for my own gaining of my own perspective when I was young, until that perspective made what it is today. And I had to go through a long process of educating, learning what was out there too. It doesn't all come for free. It's still cognitive journeys into what the records are telling you.
Yep.
So what do you want to tell the world with your perspective from reading the records that makes you different than anyone else?
Well, I'm clear that my life's purpose is to support people to discover and strengthen the connectedness they have with themselves, others, in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then also to support leaders, visionary leaders and entrepreneurs to support the massive shifts that are happening in the world.
Beautiful. You're a teacher. You're a teacher.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What else do you want to teach the world?
Well, this message of leading with confident vulnerability is something that came through in 2012 when I asked myself what connects the great leaders across time and space and culture. But more importantly, what is within each of us that we can do to embody that sense of leadership for ourselves. So I see that as a complementary yet requisite piece in supporting the enlightenment for the whole of humankind and all on the planet.
Well put. Sounds like something has divinely inspired you. I know this because I've been that divinely inspired to create words like that too. And it's nice to see a fellow person on the journey that understand words mean a lot right now. Absolutely not. We are in a moment where we can split the hairs of semantics to define how the world's going to turn out. And most of us that have attained this form of skill set, we prefer not to say anything about it because we might influence it. But at the same time, we're out here as direct influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, and I know we are literally one viral video away from the world changing, and the system knows it too. And that viral video can have nothing to do with aliens, earthquakes, and the end of the world. It could have something to do with the babies blowing up snot and going over the mother, and they get 10 billion views faster than the world can start. That's unity consciousness.
And it's unity consciousness over a cute cat video, right?
Exactly. We are one viral video away. That's how interconnected we are. And what is the math? I think we're 4.82 degrees of separation from everyone in the world, from the person in Antarctica to the person to Siberia. Okay, 4.82 or 4.62 degrees of separation. That's how small our world is. Right. That's how small it is. So yeah, one video can do it. Can one speech do it? I don't know. It's gonna have to have some better green screens and blingy bling on the hot. I don't know. That's what's marketing is so damn important in this world. We got to use what they've given us. Yeah. All the people that are watching here, all the people are going to be watching in the archive. Yeah, we're all one video away.
Yeah.
Are we one speech away? No. And I'll say that why. Because this is standard marketing, but 90% of the people who buy a product don't even open it. That's some self-help. Okay? Why?
Yep.
Why? So 10% of all your buyers are actually the doers. And usually less than that.
Yep.
So why did I write about a world of mediocrity? Because that's what they forced us to conform to. Shutting off mediocrity means we've got to be bold and forceful with our whatever's driving us to the impetus of our actions. So why do you do it?
Why do I do it?
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's more fun than you've had in 1,000 other lifetimes. And it tickles your soul pink.
Yeah. To inhabit the unique soul vibration.
Right. Right. You could be blah, 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 and it'd still be happy. Yeah. As long as the words are said in the exact moment of space-time, because we're all signature frequency teachers of these moments and now. Then and will be.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm a test you. Then I don't even think of this as a test. Sorry, wrong word. So what would you say to your future self 5 years from now, knowing full well that it's in the Akashic record? And that future self can look back at you at this moment of now, connected to the live radio show that's a standing frequency in time.
You did it. Every person, every thought, every inspiration is available to you at every now moment in time. The key is openness, gratefulness, courage, and an effervescent delight in tuning into and channeling the now spirit moment.
And now that now spirit moment has an ever-present moment that's spread through all space-time continuums as a standing frequency of the message that you've just said. Calling all of the versions of yourself home from every Akashic record above and below the centric time waves of this galaxy and universe to return back to here for what purpose? The Great Awakening. For now it's become the Great Remembering, because people like you and I are waking up and starting to remember all the masses out there. They'll get us sooner or later. People like you and me come 100 years early.
Clear.
Yeah, we do. They gotta stir up that 10% and find out if it's a real 10% or 1%.
Right. Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome, man. So I would like for you to get a hold of my website. I want you to contact mpa@galactichistorian.com and just say you were the caller with your name, and I want to have a further conversation with you.
Happy to. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
All right.
All right. Thank you a lot. All right, everyone. This was a wonderful call. Thanks a lot, everyone, for showing up for another adventure into reality. I will be back this next coming Saturday with another live show. And this time I won't have a white wall background. I have a real background. All right, everyone, take it away. All right, Robert, take it away. And everyone, have a great
Thanks, Andrew.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence. Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important? Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.